Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava 26b, Part 2. Because of time, we needed to make a second part. And we're on the last few lines of from the bottom with the words V'amar Rabba. Amar Rabba Zarek Kli Mirosh Hagag V'hayu Tachtav Karim O Chisa Sos Ba'acher V'silkan O Kadam Hu V'silkan Patur Maitaima Be'idna Deshadye Pesoke Mafsike Giri, which means, and Rabba says, if one threw a vessel from a roof and there were cushions or blankets below, so that if the vessel would land on them, it would not break. And then another came and removed the cushions or blankets, or if the individual who threw the vessel went quickly before it landed and removed the cushions or blankets himself, and as a result the vessel shattered, the one who threw the vessel is exempt from liability, even though the vessel broke as a consequence of his actions. What is the reason? At the time that he threw the vessel, his arrows were stopped. Just reminds me of a Rashi in Hazinu. Viadi Ochez B'mishpat, something like that. And he brings a midrash that says that just not like humans, who when they shoot an arrow they can't take it back, that God is not like that. When Ochez es Yadi B'mishpat means that once he sent out the mishpat, kaviyachol, like as if to say, once the mishpat was sent out, the arrows were sent out of judgment, he can actually bring it back. So there's a raya from that Rashi that it's a contradiction from here, because here it says that his arrows were stopped, but a person can't stop his arrows according to that Rashi. But here it says when he threw the vessel, his arrows were stopped. What the explanation is, what he did at the time he threw the vessel, which is an act comparable to shooting of an arrow, did not have the capacity to break the vessel. So he shot an arrow, but the arrows were stopped. He shot an arrow, but because of the blankets that were stopped, you could argue that he didn't actually stop. His arrows were stopped. He didn't stop his arrow. Okay. That's the difference. Okay. Therefore, he is not viewed as having broken the vessel and is exempt. And Rabba says, if one threw a child, can you imagine that? One threw a child from a roof. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, there was a thing of, Lahavdil, to bring it in, saying Michael Jackson was waving a baby out of the window. Remember that? Does anyone here remember this? Michael Jackson was waving the baby. Ganze. Oh, but he didn't throw it out. But I'm saying, if somebody threw a child, that reminded me of that. If one threw a child from a roof, I think he was just immature. He was just playing around. I think he was just being goofy. I think. But here Taka is saying if someone threw a child from a roof, wow. And then listen to this. This is mamish crazy. And another came and impaled him with his sword, and the child died. Why would you do that? Why would you? Okay, the talk is, what? We're saying if it happened, Lamais, if it happened, If one threw a child from a roof and another came and impaled him on his sword, and the child died, the question of who is liable to receive the death penalty for killing the child is dependent upon the dispute between Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera and the rabbis, as it is taught in the Braita. If 10 people beat a victim with 10 sticks, whether they did so simultaneously or sequentially, they are all to be continued.